Your financial reality right now is a direct mirror of one thing you consistently assume. I taught my wealthiest students one mandatory thing they did every single day that transformed their finances from struggle to abundance, and it had absolutely nothing to do with working harder, getting a new job, or chasing more clients. If you're the man who wakes up at 3 a.m. with a cold knot in your stomach, staring at the ceiling, replaying your financial struggles, feeling that deep, quiet shame of knowing you're capable of so much more, but seeing your bank balance stubbornly refuse to grow, or the one who winces every time a bill lands on your desk, dreading the numbers on the envelope, pretending to your family everything is fine, when inwardly you're exhausted from the constant chase. By the end of this session, I will reveal the precise, non-negotiable daily practice my most successful students implemented to manifest consistent financial breakthroughs, and I promise you, within 60 days of applying this diligently, you will witness your own undeniable shift in financial opportunity and unexpected income streams, just as 41 of my students did after embracing this mandatory inner discipline. But here's the truth. Most will dismiss this as too simple, too internal, and continue to chase external solutions, unknowingly guaranteeing their continued financial struggle. In the next 8 minutes, I will unpack the exact mechanism of this one thing, reveal the hidden assumption that's blocking your current wealth, and show you how to embed a new financial reality. Leave now and you'll stay trapped in the cycle of endless effort with limited reward, forever missing the true key to abundance. Listen to me closely. Every man, every single one of you, is living out a state of consciousness. Your current financial standing is not a statement of your worth or your potential, but merely a precise reflection of the state you consistently occupy in your imagination. The world, your bank account, your opportunities, these are but shadows cast by your inner assumptions. I recall vividly a period in my own life, many years ago, when I longed to travel to my home in Barbados, but I had not a penny to my name for the fare. Every outward circumstance screamed impossibility. My pockets were empty, and the world presented no immediate opportunity. Yet my teacher, Abdullah, had taught me a principle that seemed utterly absurd to the logical mind: to live as if my desire was already fulfilled. I remember lying in my small New York apartment, not thinking about Barbados, but from Barbados. I would feel the warm air on my skin, hear the sounds of the Caribbean, smell the familiar sense of home. I didn't just visualize, I felt myself there. The obstacle was the sheer absence of funds, the logical impossibility, but the principle I applied was the consistent embodiment of the feeling of being in Barbados. And the result? Weeks later, completely unexpectedly, I received a letter with an offer that provided not only the means for my passage, but also money for my expenses once I arrived. My outward financial state changed after my inner state shifted, not before. This is not magic, it is law. Your subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. It operates on feeling. When you persistently dwell in the feeling of financial lack, your subconscious, being the fertile soil it is, must bring forth experiences of lack. Conversely, when you infuse your imagination with the feeling of having, of abundance, of ease, your subconscious must, by divine compulsion, externalize that state. It is a tireless, obedient servant, always seeking to make your dominant feeling thought a tangible reality. This is the mechanism by which your world is perpetually being created. Most men look at their empty bank accounts and feel defeat, reinforcing the state of lack, then go out and try harder in the external world to overcome it. They wait for external opportunities to appear before feeling wealthy. This, I tell you, is precisely why they never fully arrive. The man who truly breaks free, however, first shifts his inner state. He cultivates the feeling of wealth despite current appearances, understanding that the outer must always conform to the inner. He does not try to get money, he assumes the state of already having it. The belief that more effort and longer hours are the primary path to wealth is a delusion that keeps you bound to struggle. This is a hard truth many refuse to accept, for it shatters the very foundation of their conditioning. The world tells you to push, to strive, to sacrifice, and while intelligent action has its place, it is utterly secondary. Action without the correct inner assumption is like trying to push a rope. It collapses on itself. Consider the teachings of Thomas Troward. He emphasized that the creative power is in the subjective side of things. He observed that many men work themselves to the bone, expending immense physical and mental effort, only to find themselves perpetually barely making ends meet. Their obstacle was often an unconscious belief that they had to earn their wealth through arduous toil and sacrifice, rather than allowing it to unfold naturally from an inner state of abundance. Troward taught that the true driver of wealth is the inner thought, the inner feeling, the inner assumption of already possessing it. He posited that physical action is merely the objective side of a prior subjective causation. The principle here is clear. The cause is mental, the effect is physical. The result for those who grasped his teaching was an experience of wealth flowing to them with an ease that seemed miraculous to their peers still caught in the struggle. Your subconscious mind is not impressed by your sweat or your long hours. It responds only to the blueprint you impress upon it. If you believe, deep down, that you must struggle for every penny, that you must deserve wealth through suffering, then your subconscious will meticulously arrange circumstances to fulfill that belief. You will always find yourself in situations demanding extreme effort for minimal reward, because that is the program running beneath the surface. True wealth is not earned, it is allowed. It is not something you chase. It is something you become. Most men exhaust themselves chasing more clients, working more shifts, or inventing new strategies, all while feeling the pressure of lack, thus perpetuating it. The man who understands this deeper law, however, first focuses on aligning his inner reality. He knows that external effort, while sometimes necessary, is not the primary cause. He lets his actions flow from a state of inner knowing and abundance, making them far more effective, far more magnetic. His effort is inspired, not desperate. I promise to reveal the critical 5-minute window in your day where this practice has 10x the power for financial manifestation. This window is not arbitrary. It is precisely when your conscious mind's resistance is weakest and your subconscious is most receptive. Abdullah taught me this with such unwavering conviction that it forced me to confront my own skepticism. He didn't just tell me, he showed me. He instructed me, every night before sleep and every morning upon waking, to perform a specific mental diet. For those few precious minutes, I was to shut out every external argument for poverty, every worry, every doubt. I was to assume, with all the feeling I could muster, that my desire was already fulfilled. When I wanted the specific apartment I desired, he commanded me to go to sleep in it, not thinking about it. The obstacle was my deeply ingrained habit of seeing my current reality as the only reality. The principle was the daily, disciplined assumption of the desired state, regardless of outer evidence. The result was not only the apartment materializing, but a complete reprogramming of my self-concept around what was possible. This was not a one-time trick, it was a daily ritual, a mental diet that fundamentally altered who I believed myself to be. The moments just before falling asleep and just after waking are crucial because your brainwaves are in a highly suggestible state, moving between alpha and theta. In these windows, your critical, logical conscious mind, which often argues against your desires based on past experiences, begins to quiet. This opens a direct pathway to your subconscious. By consistently impressing the feeling of financial abundance, not just wishing for it, but feeling the relief, the joy, the security of having it, during these times, you bypass the inner censor and directly program your deeper mind. You are, in essence, installing a new financial self-concept at its very root. You are replacing the program of lack with the program of abundance. Most men allow their minds to wander freely during these potent windows, replaying their problems, succumbing to worries, or planning their day's struggle, thereby reinforcing their current reality. The man who masters this, however, consciously and intentionally programs his subconscious with the feeling of fulfilled wealth. He begins and ends his day not with doubt, but with the settled conviction of already having. He understands that these brief, disciplined moments are more powerful than hours of external toil. Say this with me, aloud. My daily inner visualization and feeling ritual consistently creates my desired financial reality. Repeat daily. In the next 3 minutes, I will reveal how Joseph Murphy illustrated this profound truth and challenge your core belief that lack is something external you must fight. Joseph Murphy, a man whose wisdom resonated deeply with many often shared stories of individuals who were in dire financial straits, not because of market conditions or external failures, but because of their internal perception of lack. I recall a case he shared of a man who continually experienced financial drought. His obstacle was a deeply ingrained, almost unconscious belief that money was scarce, difficult to obtain, and fleeting. He saw the world as a place of competition and limited resources. Murphy guided him to recognize that this feeling of scarcity was not a reaction to his external world, but rather the cause of it. The principle Murphy taught was that lack is not a condition of your bank account, but a condition of your consciousness. The man began to regularly affirm and feel the truth of infinite supply, repeating affirmations like, "I am one with the infinite riches of the universe, and wealth flows to me freely and joyously." The result was a dramatic shift in his circumstances, as unexpected opportunities for income and investment began to appear, not through struggle, but through effortless alignment with his new state. Your subconscious mind cannot generate lack if it is continually impressed with the idea of abundance. When you perceive lack, you are merely observing the external manifestation of an internal, unexamined state of consciousness that you have unwittingly accepted. You are the source. If you feel poor, you are being poor. If you feel abundant, you are being abundant. It is never the condition itself, but your relationship to the condition, your internal assumption about it, that holds the power. When you shift your assumption from "I lack" to "I have," the external world, by law, must rearrange itself to reflect this new inner conviction. It cannot do otherwise. Most men blame the economy, their boss, their upbringing, or their circumstances for their financial woes, perpetuating the belief that they are victims of external forces. The man who truly manifests wealth, however, understands that financial lack is a subjective experience, an inner habit of thought and feeling that can be changed at will. He looks inward, examines his own beliefs about money and abundance, and then consciously revises them. He does not fight external lack, he extinguishes internal lack. Consider the man who experiences a brief windfall. He wins the lottery, inherits some money, or makes a lucky investment. For a moment, his external reality is one of abundance, but if his inner state, his core assumption, is still rooted in lack, in the belief that money is hard to keep, or that he isn't truly worthy of it, what happens? The money vanishes, often quickly and through seemingly unavoidable circumstances. This isn't bad luck. It's the inevitable working out of his dominant assumption. The stakes are immense. Without this inner shift, any external gain is temporary, a fleeting illusion. Florence Scovel Shinn, with her remarkable clarity, consistently demonstrated this truth to her students. She taught that man's subconscious mind is his faithful servant and will carry out his wishes literally. She would tell of clients who struggled with continuous debt and financial strain despite periods of working diligently. Their obstacle wasn't lack of opportunity, it was a deeply ingrained, sustained assumption of debt and struggle. They were always expecting the next bill, always worrying about payments. Shinn's principle was to teach them to consciously and sustainedly assume, with vivid feeling, the finished condition of their desires. One student, burdened by overwhelming debt, was told to stop affirming, "I will pay my debts," which implies the existence of debt, and instead, simply affirm, "I am debt-free, and all my bills are paid in divine order." The result, after persistent, sustained assumption, was not just the payment of her debts, but a complete reorganization of her financial life, bringing unexpected income and opportunities that allowed her to live in lasting abundance. The subconscious mind, being non-discerning, simply accepts whatever is impressed upon it with feeling and persistence as truth. It doesn't judge, it doesn't question, it executes. Therefore, your conscious, sustained assumption of abundance acts as the master key. It is the unwavering instruction to your inner creative power, which then mobilizes all unseen forces, all opportunities, all circumstances, to bring that assumed reality into objective existence. This is not simply thinking positive thoughts. It is feeling the reality of the wish fulfilled until it saturates your entire being, until it becomes your natural state. This is the difference between fleeting hope and undeniable manifestation. Most men dabble with positive thinking, affirming for a few moments, but then return to their dominant feeling of worry and lack, canceling out any potential effect. The man who attains lasting financial freedom, however, commits to a conscious, sustained assumption. He maintains his mental diet, regardless of the outer landscape, knowing that this inner consistency is the only leverage point for permanent change. He understands that fleeting thoughts yield fleeting results, but sustained assumption yields sustained reality. Affirm aloud now, with conviction, I consciously assume my state of abundant wealth, and my reality must conform. Repeat this powerfully every day. But there is a way out of this cycle of fleeting hopes and temporary gains. It lies in understanding the precise timing of your inner work. I mentioned this earlier as the critical 5-minute window. Now, let me elaborate on its immense power. Many of my students, initially, would approach this work with great enthusiasm, affirming at random times throughout the day, often while their conscious minds were still active and prone to doubt. They would experience some minor shifts, but not the profound, lasting breakthroughs I promised. The obstacle was timing. I then guided them, as Abdullah had guided me, to specifically target the moments of falling asleep and waking up. One particular student, a struggling businessman, had been working 70-hour weeks with little to show for it. I instructed him to abandon all conscious efforting during the day and instead to commit to just 5 minutes upon waking and 5 minutes before sleep, immersing himself in the feeling of having received a substantial, unexpected payment. He was to construct a short, vivid scene, perhaps opening an email with a notification of a large transfer or feeling the weight of a thick checkbook in his hands, and to loop this scene repeatedly until he felt the naturalness of it. The principle was utilizing the liminal state for maximum subconscious impression. The result was truly remarkable. Within weeks, an old, dormant investment unexpectedly matured, bringing him more than double what he had imagined, completely freeing him from his financial anxieties. During these twilight states, the conscious mind's filtering mechanism, the logical gatekeeper, relaxes its grip. Your brain transitions from beta waves alert, active to alpha, and then theta waves relaxed, dreamlike, meditative. In this heightened state of suggestibility, your imagination is not merely a tool for picturing. It becomes a direct conduit to the subconscious. Impressions made during these 5-minute windows penetrate deeper, with less resistance, and are accepted as truth with far greater potency. This is why I always emphasize the feeling of the wish fulfilled in these specific moments. It's not about forcing an image, but entering the sensation of having already achieved it. This anchors the new financial reality directly into your subconscious blueprint. Most men jump out of bed consumed by worry or immediately into the day's demands, and then fall asleep replaying their failures or anxieties, unknowingly programming more of the same. The truly successful man, however, recognizes these 5-minute windows as sacred, non-negotiable times for deliberate inner creation. He uses them to consciously infuse his subconscious with the feeling of abundance, setting the tone for his entire reality, knowing that this precise mental diet guarantees his financial harvest. The consequence of acting without this inner shift is clear: endless effort with limited reward, a perpetual cycle of frustration and exhaustion. You will chase, you will strive, and you will always find yourself just short, because your inner state of lack will subtly sabotage every external effort. But embrace this inner shift, and your actions become divinely guided, effortless, and exponentially more effective, bringing you the reward of true, lasting abundance. I have witnessed countless individuals who, with all the best intentions, took every conceivable external action. They networked, they pitched, they invested, they worked diligently. Yet their financial reality remained stagnant, a testament to the fact that their inner conviction was still rooted in lack. One of my students, a bright, ambitious young man, came to me after years of entrepreneurial endeavors that continually failed despite his diligent effort. His obstacle was an unconscious, nagging fear of failure and an underlying belief that money was fundamentally elusive. He was doing all the right things, but his inner self was not aligned with success. I taught him the profound importance of the inner shift first. He began to consistently apply the mental diet, focusing on the feeling of thriving, of success, of abundant cash flow, before taking any significant external action. The principle here is that action must flow from being, not from wanting. The result was astounding. His next venture, which seemed no different in its external strategy, suddenly took off, attracting investors and customers with an ease that shocked even him. His actions became potent because they were born from an inner state of abundance, not a state of desperate need. Your external actions are merely the outward expression of your dominant inner conviction. If you feel inherently poor, even the most brilliant business strategy will find subtle ways to self-sabotage. You might miss opportunities, make poor decisions, or attract unsupportive partners, all because your subconscious mind is faithfully executing the program of lack you have impressed upon it. However, when you first assume the state of financial abundance, your actions become inspired. You find yourself guided to the right people, the right opportunities, the right words. Doors open as if by magic. This is not magic. It is the law. Your conscious external efforts become aligned with the infinite wisdom of your subconscious, making them irresistibly effective. Most men believe they must do more to get more, constantly seeking external validation and external solutions to their financial woes. The man who truly thrives, however, knows that external action is virtually powerless without this inner shift. He understands that being abundant first is the only true precursor to doing abundant things that yield abundant results. He cultivates the inner state of wealth and then allows inspired action to flow from that state, turning his dreams into tangible reality with grace and ease. Say this with me, with all the conviction in your being. I am the embodiment of financial abundance, and my every action creates wealth. Declare this truth daily. Here's exactly how you will implement this profound truth and begin to witness your own undeniable financial transformation. This is your non-negotiable daily ritual. 1. The 5-minute morning immersion. Immediately upon waking, before your logical mind fully engages, close your eyes. For 5 minutes, immerse yourself in a vivid, feeling-rich scene that implies your financial desire is already fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the security of abundance. It could be opening a bank statement with your desired balance, or feeling the weight of a full wallet, or sensing the freedom of knowing all your obligations are effortlessly met. Feel it until it feels real, until it feels natural. 2. The 5-minute nighttime programming. Just before falling asleep, repeat the exact same ritual. This is your most potent window for impressing your subconscious. Replay that scene. Feel the emotion. Lull yourself to sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not think of it, be it. 3. Throughout the day, the mental diet check. Whenever a thought of lack, worry, or limitation concerning your finances arises, immediately challenge it. Gently but firmly replace it with the feeling of abundance. Tell yourself, no, I am abundant. My desire is fulfilled. This is consistent vigilance, not struggle. It is the practice of maintaining your new financial self-concept. Commit to this daily, unwavering ritual, and I promise you this, within 30 days, you will experience your first undeniable, unexpected financial opportunity or income stream. Or if circumstances seem to stubbornly persist, you will identify the precise hidden belief that is unconsciously blocking your wealth manifestation, allowing you to confront and correct it, leading inevitably to the breakthrough. We have absolutely shattered the delusions that once held you captive. The belief that more effort and longer hours are the primary path to wealth is a delusion that keeps you bound to struggle. You now know that inner alignment, sustained assumption, is the primary driver, making external action secondary and effortlessly potent. You cannot get money. you can only assume the state of already having it into being. This is no longer a mystery. It is the very mechanism by which your world is created. You now possess the key to embodying wealth. Waiting for external opportunities to appear before feeling wealthy is precisely why they never fully arrive. You have learned that feeling must precede the manifestation. You create the internal reality first, and the external opportunities will then flow to meet it. All the secrets I promised to unveil are now laid bare before you. The critical 5-minute window in your day, where this practice has 10x the power for financial manifestation. These are the moments just before sleep and just upon waking, when your subconscious is most receptive. The exact internal dialogue wealthy individuals unconsciously cultivate that separates them from the masses. It is the sustained, felt assumption of abundance, the knowing that lack is merely an unexamined state of consciousness, and the consistent mental diet that keeps this truth alive. Why external financial actions are virtually powerless without this inner shift, I taught my students, because all outer action is merely a shadow of an inner state. Without the correct inner blueprint, external efforts are futile. Now the choice is yours, as it always has been. Will you continue to chase external solutions, endlessly striving, forever bound by the belief that money is something out there to be fought for? Will you return to the sleepless nights and the quiet shame, replaying financial struggles? Or will you, starting tonight, embrace this hidden daily practice, this profound inner shift, and step into the unshakable truth that you are the creator of your own financial destiny? Will you remain trapped in the cycle of endless effort with limited reward, forever missing the true key to abundance, or will you choose the path of effortless manifestation? This truth is so vital, so transformative, that I urge you. Play this again, return to this daily. Let these words permeate your being until this new understanding is not merely a concept, but your absolute lived reality. You are the architect of your own fortune. Now build it.